What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope everybody out there is having What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope everybody out there is having an amazing day. I've got all my seeds finally. Y'all hear that? Some ducks talking to me. Oh, ducks. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope everybody out there. Every time I start talking, the ducks start talking. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope everybody. I'm gonna have to go give those ducks a watermelon just so I can talk to y'all. These ducks will follow me around like a dog, just everywhere I go. When they see me, they'll start running and start quacking. Y'all come on. Y'all come on. Come on. Hello. Hello. Okay. Hey. Shh. You be quiet for a second. Now listen. This is the last one. Okay? So you gotta enjoy it. This is the last one. You ready? Don't eat my toes. Okay. Hopefully now that the ducks are satisfied, we can actually talk. It's like every time they hear me talking, they think I'm talking to them and they just talk back. Anyways, so I finally got all my seeds for fall in the mail. Some of these in this box are seeds from last year that we had extras. We'll be planting. Some of these are new seeds. Kind of want to go through all these varieties, tell you about what you can expect us to see planting in our fall/winter gardens. And then once we get done talking about that, I want to go check on our fall watermelon plot, see how that's coming along, because if you know, those ducks are going to be upset the fact that was the last watermelon. So hopefully we can grow a few more for them and kind of extend the season for the ducks and us. Now I realize that everybody watching out there can't grow a fall or a winter garden like we can, but hopefully going through these varieties, telling you why I picked these varieties, will maybe help you out next year, you know, next spring, if you're not able to grow a fall garden. So as I told you, in this box we've got some stuff from last year, we've got some stuff that just came in the mail, we've got some new varieties we've never tried before, we've got some favorites in here that seems like we grow every single year. We've also got some stinkers in here. Maybe not stinkers. Stinkers maybe not the best word, but some varieties that were just okay last year, but I still got a few seeds left. They're in here as well, because we'll just plant those just to get rid of them. Maybe we use them as giveaway plants. They're not terrible varieties, but they just didn't maybe, you know, live up to the hype. And for some of these new varieties, I do remember what spurred me to choose that variety. Some of them, it's been a few weeks since I ordered the seeds. I don't really remember as much, so I've got me a list here, got me some notes so we can kind of go through them all. And I've got seeds here from a lot of different companies. We use a lot of different companies in our gardens. Just to give you an idea, you know, I use a lot of Harris seeds, really like their stuff. Seedway, although Seedway tends to just have larger quantities, so I don't order as much from Seedway, but I do like their hybrid variety selection. Johnny Seeds, High Mowing, NE Seeds, MI Gardener, Urban Farmer Seeds, and Territorial Seeds. So a lot of different companies that we're using in our fall garden this year. So we'll separate these out by crop. For instance, we'll start out with cabbage. I've got about 5, maybe 6 different varieties of cabbage that we're going to be planting this year. A few I've tried before, a few I haven't tried before. So we'll start out with just your standard green cabbage, and I've got a few seeds left in this packet here from last year. This is a variety called Capture, and it did pretty dang good for us last year. I was pretty happy with this variety. Supposedly this variety is resistant to black rot, which can be an issue down here in the south, a bacterial disease. I'm not sure I've ever had black rot, but I was just happy with the size and the growth and the holding ability of this particular Capture variety. I didn't buy any more seeds for this variety because I got a decent amount in this packet here, enough for us to grow it again. Then I found this variety here on Harris Seeds website, one that I haven't grown before. This one's called Bravo. This is a hybrid, and the description of this variety just kind of caught my attention. It said it was a rugged hybrid and that it performs really well in the deep south. And I said, well, you know, that sounds like something I'd like to try. So we're going to give old Bravo a try here. And then kind of the last standard green cabbage variety I've got here is one that I'm kind of just growing for fun, although the folks I've talked to says it makes pretty tasty cabbage. So this is a variety I got from High Mowing called Megaton, and supposedly this variety can make heads of cabbage upwards of 20 pounds. It says, you know, average around 15, but they can get as big as 20. And I'm thinking if we maybe give it a little chicken manure here and there, we can get some really big heads of cabbage. So I think that'll be just fun for me and the kids just to see how big a head of cabbage we can actually grow. And then as far as red cabbage goes, I really don't have just a go-to red cabbage variety. I've tried a bunch of them over the years. Never really found one that just blew me away to the point where I was just going to grow that one from there on out. So when I was on High Mowing site getting that Megaton cabbage, I was looking through their red cabbage offerings and found this variety here called Buscaro. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the description said it's a hefty red variety, 4 to 5 pound heads. Red cabbage usually doesn't get quite as big as green cabbage, so a nice big headed red cabbage variety. I said, heck, we'll give it a try. And then one more red cabbage variety that we grew last year that I'm just going to be growing again just to use up the rest of these seeds was called Ruby Perfection. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't spectacular either. It was just kind of alright. So got a few seeds left in here. We're going to grow those out. We'll compare them to that Buscaro variety. But I'm basically just growing this just to use those seeds. I don't want to throw them away, so you know, we'll use them. So that's most of the cabbage. There'll also be some Napa cabbage and some Savoy cabbage in there somewhere. I got to find my packets of those from last year. I know I've got leftover seed. I don't remember the varieties we'll be planting, but we'll be planting a few of those as well. But I really focus mainly on the big green heads of cabbage, and I really like the red cabbage. And now on to collards, which, you know, if you've been watching our videos a while, I love some collards. And collards are a staple down here in the South. And it seems like just through our videos, we've been getting a few more people north of here to start trying and growing collards. And if you've never grown collards, I'd highly recommend trying collards. Collards are really cold tolerant, so you can grow collards, you know, in the middle of the country, maybe all the way through the winter. I'm not quite sure how cold they can take it, but they're one of the more cold hardy vegetables out there. So if you're not growing collards, you should be growing collards. I've tried several different collard varieties over the over the years. Last year we trialed a variety called Flash next to a variety called Champion, and the Flash kicked Champion's butt. So we're just sticking with the Flash this year. I've got some leftover seeds from last year, but I also bought a few more because there's not a whole lot in this packet here, and I know I'll have some folks wanting collard transplants. So we're sticking with Flash because it worked so well for us last year. Now I will mention there's a variety I saw online, supposedly a new variety called Top Chop, and I almost got some seeds to try it, but I didn't. And you know, I may decide to try it later on, but not planning on trying it now. But if any of you out there have ever tried Top Chop, not Top Crop, Top Chop collards, let me know what you thought about them. And then we've got kale. So I'm growing 2 varieties of kale that we grew last year. I'm not growing the Portuguese kale again. I kind of like the Portuguese kale, but the plants didn't really hold up well once the weather started to seesaw a bit, you know, going from cold to hot, back to cold and hot in December. So I'm not doing the Portuguese kale again, but I do like it. The 2 varieties of kale we are growing, one would be this variety here called Black Magic. So this is a lacinato type, and to me the Black Magic is a little darker leaves, maybe just a hair bit more vigorous than a standard, you know, lacinato type. So I liked the Black Magic last year, definitely growing that one again. And then the one that was the most impressive was this darker bore variety. So that's the curly kale, and I had some of that going almost a whole year. I just took it down. It started looking kind of pitiful in the August heat, but darker bore was really impressive. So definitely growing that one again. Extremely productive. We had the stalks get on up about 5 foot tall before I pulled them out the other day. Then we've got broccoli. So I grow Green Magic, seems like every single year. I've got a few seeds left in this packet here. Green Magic is always a good one for us. This is a pretty widely adapted variety, which means it does well in a lot of different conditions, a lot of different seasons, a lot of different, growing zones. If you never tried Green Magic, I'd recommend giving it a try. So we're gonna grow some more Green Magic, and I'm also gonna grow some of this Imperial broccoli, which I tried last year and liked it pretty well. This variety is pretty heat tolerant, and it comes in handy down here. There's sometimes on Christmas Day we'll be wearing shorts around here. The week before that we may be shivering, and then we'll be wearing shorts on Christmas Day. This Imperial variety here, especially once it gets really close to maturing, seems to be able to handle those crazy swings in weather that we can get down here in the winter, and that's why I'm growing this one again. Then we've got cauliflower, and I've only got one variety of cauliflower that I'm going to be growing. I know that's not like me, just to pick one variety, but I grew this Toledo variety last year. This is a good variety for growing cauliflower into cooler weather. So we can grow spring cauliflower, but most of the time I like growing it fall into the winter, and this variety does well as temps are cooling, as opposed to growing it in the spring when temps are warming. So Toledo it is on the cauliflower. Then we got Brussels sprouts, which I'm a little bit worried about, because now for 2 years in a row I have did okay on Brussels sprouts, and that's not like me. Usually I'm every third year get lucky on the Brussels sprouts. So I'm bound to have something bad happen with Brussels sprouts and just mess it up. Maybe I've figured something out. Maybe I've just got lucky the last 2 years, but we'll see what happens this year. We're growing this variety called Gladius that we grew last year, did pretty good for us. And then I've got this other hybrid here called Dagan, and really can't remember why I picked this particular variety. Oh, I think it said that it holds well on the stalk, so you got kind of a longer harvest window. So that's why I picked this Dagan variety. We're going to give that a try. We'll compare it to the Gladius that we grew last year. Then we got Rutabagas. Love me some Rutabagas. I like the greens and I like the root part. Now, early last year we did a little trial comparing a hybrid variety called Eleanor to just your standard American purple top rutabaga, and the Eleanor pretty much blew the American purple top out of the water. Now I may still plant a few seeds of these as giveaway transplants, since we still have some seeds, and it's not a bad variety. It just really didn't compare to this hybrid here. So I've got those two varieties of rutabagas, and I've also got some in my freezer, a bigger package of a variety called Laurentian. I got a big bag of those from Seed Wave, pretty cheap last year. I think the Laurentian is probably my favorite. If you remember, was it maybe earlier this year, we harvested some rutabagas and they were just absolutely massive. That Laurentian always makes the biggest rutabagas for us, makes the most greens and the really nice sized rutabagas. That's kind of my go-to variety, but I do like experiment with some of these other varieties as well. Now for our next crop category, I just call these fast growing greens, because these things grow faster than anything else we plant in the fall garden. That would be pak choi, and then this particular variety of mustard green. So last year we did pretty good with the Joy Choi variety of pak choi. This is a hybrid variety. We ate these a lot of different ways. We stir fried them, just sauteed them. We even harvested a bunch of them and cooked them like a big old pot of collard greens for a football tailgate one Friday night, and they were really good that way as well. So really like this variety, going to grow some more of that. And then we've got the Savannah mustard here, which is a tried and true favorite of ours. Grows really fast, tastes really good. It's got a nice upright growth habit, so if you do get a heavy rain, the leaves don't get as dirty, so you don't have quite as much prep time getting them cleaned before you're ready to cook them. And then we've got spinach. So this is some seeds I had left over from last year, a decent amount here. A variety called Sun Angel. Did really well for us last year. Seems to be pretty heat tolerant. Seems to handle the seesaws of winter that we have with going hot, cold, back to hot, cold. Last year we got, I think, 4 or 5 good harvests off one row of this, even with it going back and forth hot and cold, and it didn't bolt until it started, you know, really warming up in spring. So this is my go-to spinach variety as of now, Sun Angel, and it's going to take something pretty impressive to change my mind and stop me from growing this one. Now, as far as lettuce goes, we're kind of doing the same thing we did last year. Still got plenty of pelleted lettuce seeds left over here. So we're going to be planting some more of these varieties that did well for us last year. That would include the Adriana Butterhead. So Butterhead lettuce is one of our favorites. Adriana is a really good green Butterhead variety. Then we've got the Tropicana leaf lettuce, which seem to be really heat tolerant. You can harvest single leaves of that, or it will eventually form kind of a loose head, and you can, you know, do a single cut on it if you want. And then as far as romaine goes, we've got a variety called Sparks, and that's kind of spelled like Bubba Sparks, but without a couple of the extra X's on the end. So Sparks did pretty well for us last year. Going to grow that one again. Now let's get into some root veggies here. Love growing root veggies, carrots, beets. Really liked growing parsnips last year. So, you know, root veggies is one of my favorite things to plant and grow throughout the winter. We'll start off with carrots. There's quite a few different varieties of carrots I've tried, and there's a lot of them that I like. So it's hard to really pick, you know, some favorites. But one that I grew last year that I had grown before, but it had been a while, is called Miami, and High Mowing has this variety. I really like this variety. This is my favorite orange carrot variety at the moment, and still got lots of seeds here, so I'm very excited about trying that one again. Now, another one we grew last year that I grew for the first time ever was called Napoli, and that was a really good orange variety as well. It's really tight race between Miami and Napoli, in my opinion. Maybe Miami gets the slight edge. It's a little sweeter, maybe. Just got, you know, a little better smell when you pull it from the ground, just a little sweeter taste, but nothing wrong with Napoli at all for an orange carrot. Then as far as purple carrots go, we grew this variety called Dragon last year. It did pretty good. Now this variety seemed to mature quicker than any of the other carrot varieties we planted, so it was ready to harvest before our orange carrots or our yellow carrots or even our red carrots were. But made some nice sized carrots with this Dragon variety. Still got plenty of seeds. We're going to plant some more of that one. Yellow carrots, this variety called Yellowstone has always been a good one for me, so got plenty of seeds here. Going to be planting more Yellowstone. And then red carrots. I've never been impressed with any red carrot variety I've ever grown. I don't know why I keep trying to grow red carrots. They never really get to size, never really impress me. I grew this Red Sun variety last year, and once again, wasn't really impressed with it, but I still got some seeds left here. So if I've got a little bit of room at the end of a carrot row and run out of some of the other seeds, I may stick some of these in the ground, but I'm not itching to plant them by any means. So as far as the root veggies go, after carrots, we've got parsnips here. Now I don't know anything about different parsnip varieties, the differences between them or anything. Grew parsnips for the first time last year. We did all right with it. We grew this Javelin variety here, and that's what I'm growing again this year. Don't really want to mess nothing up with my parsnip game. Javelin worked good for us, and we're sticking with it. And then we've got beets. And for some reason I always plant too many beets. I really like to see beets in the garden. They're just beautiful to have in the garden, in my opinion. But we don't eat a lot of beets. We eat some beets, but we don't ever eat as many as I plant, and we end up giving a lot of them away. So I didn't buy any more beet seed this year. Still got a little bit left here. Going to grow the same 3 varieties we grew last year. We're going to grow a red beet called Merlin's, really sweet, good red beet. Going to grow a gold beet called Boldor. It's got a little milder flavor than the red beets do. Really pretty gold beet there. And then a white one called Avalanche. And if you've never tried the white beets, they have a much milder flavor than the red beets. So if you don't like that kind of dirt flavor with the red beets, try the white beets. They're a lot milder. And then lastly, we've got our alliums here, our leek and our onion seed. Now, I really don't have a go-to variety of leeks. I would say Tadorna has probably done the best for us consistently over the years, but I've had some other varieties that were pretty close. There's a variety of leek I always wanted to try called Megaton. A couple of the market farmers I would see on some of the Facebook groups I was in always bragged on that variety, and I don't think it's available anymore. But I found on Harris Seeds website, and I can't remember where I read this, but they basically said that this Rally variety was the closest thing out there now to, you know, the megaton that used to be out there. So we're going to give this Rally leek a try and see how big of leeks we can grow. Then as far as onions go, we got some bunching onions here. Going to grow some more bunching onions. I don't know if I'll plant a whole row of bunching onions like I did last year. It looks pretty. I like the looks of it, and it's easy to plant a whole row of them. But I don't really need a whole row of bunching onions. We had way more than we needed last year. So I think I may take one of my little fire ring raised beds on the other side of the barn here and plant some of these parade bunching onions. We grew this variety last year, did well for us, but I just don't think I need another whole row of them. And then we've got our bulbing onions here. Now, as you can see here, we just have 3 varieties, which isn't like me, because usually I'm doing a trial of 7 or 8 different short day bulbing onion varieties. But I'm just taking my home run hitters from last year's trial, and that's the ones we're growing this year. So I just kind of picked one variety from each onion type, so to speak. So for the Granix type, or the flattened yellow sweet onion, we're growing that DP sweet variety that made some absolutely huge onions for us last year. Definitely got to grow that one again. For the round yellow sweet variety, the round onions seem to store better than the Granix onions, but a lot of people just like those flattened onions. But anyway, for the round yellow sweet onion, we're growing that Timon variety we grew last year. We put that side by side with the Texas Legend, aka the Texas Early Grano 502, and Timon blew that variety out of the water. So going with Timon this year for our round sweet onion. And then for the red onion, last year we compared Red Rock to Chianti. Red Rock didn't do too bad, but Chianti was just amazing. The bolt resistance, I guess you would say, on this particular red onion variety. Red onions are very prone to bolting. This one didn't bolt for us. Made some massive red onions. They were really, really tasty. So got to grow Chianti again. Now I will say there were 2 other short day onion varieties that I read about online that I wanted to trial, but I couldn't find seeds for them. So the first one was called Macon, just like Macon, Georgia, and I believe Bejo Seeds is the breeder for that one. Read a lot of good things about it. It's a flattened or Granix style short day sweet onion. And Seedway had it on their website, or has it on their website, but it's out of stock. I'm going to keep an eye on it, see if they get any seeds before it's time for me to plant onions. I'd really like to try that Macon variety. And then there was another one called Sweet Azalea that I saw some really good results from it in trials, different reports I read online. I think that's a Seminus variety. Couldn't find any seeds online for Sweet Azalea. But if anybody's got any tips, anybody knows where to find any Sweet Azalea or any Macon onion seeds, let me know, and I'll add those to the rotation this year. So that's it. Our box is empty. That's all the stuff I'm planning on growing for fall. Now, it may not be everything. We may add a few things here and there, but that's pretty much everything I'm going to be planting for fall. It was nice to already have a lot of those seeds. I didn't have to buy a whole lot of seeds this year, and that's why I always say most seeds will keep for 2 to 3 years, especially if you keep them in the fridge. You'll save some money if you buy in bulk as opposed to buying a little bit at a time. If you know it's a variety that you're going to be planting, you know, in consecutive years, go ahead and get a larger packet of it. You'll save some money, and you won't have to worry about buying, you know, more seeds every year. Now, some of you, especially if you live in the South, may be wondering, where's the turnips? You didn't say anything about turnips. You're not growing any turnips. And no, I usually don't grow any turnips. I like turnip greens. I don't really care for the turnip root a whole lot. If I'm going to eat turnip greens, I want just the greens. I don't really like the root in there. You know, call me weird, whatever, but I just like the greens. And as far as greens go, I'll take collard greens or those Savannah mustard greens over turnip greens all day, every day. That's just my personal preference. Now, everybody around here loves turnip greens, but I guess I'm just the weird one. I don't care for them a whole lot. I'd rather have my collards and my Savannah mustard. So turnip greens don't really have a spot in our fall/winter garden. Now, if there are any varieties that you think I'm just missing out on, I gotta try. Best thing since sliced bread. Have to grow them. Now's your chance. You can give me a sales pitch for that particular variety in the comments below. Tell me why I just gotta grow it, and I'll read through them and maybe pick a few of those and add those to the mix. If you've got something that you just gotta see me grow, let me know about it in the comments below. All right, now that we've got our fall seed selections covered, let's take a look at this attempt to grow some fall watermelons. Now, I wasn't sure if this could be done down here. I didn't understand why it wouldn't work. Just never seen anybody try it around here, growing watermelons for a fall harvest. But as you can see here, they are looking mighty, mighty fabulous. I am absolutely tickled with how well this looks. Now, right over here in this corner, we lost a few of our crimson sweet plants, so that's why that's not filled in, but the rest of the plot is filled in very, very nicely. Now, we really can't see any fruits yet, and I don't want to stomp around in there too much looking for one and damage all my pretty vines, but I did step in there a couple times yesterday just to pull out a couple big weeds that were in there, and I felt a few with my foot. So there are some fruits developing in there. They're really not big enough to see from up top here yet, but hopefully soon we'll be able to see them. Now, besides the fact that these plants look nice and green and healthy, another really awesome thing about this fall watermelon plot is that I haven't really had to fertilize these at all. We put a little handful of Nature Safe 10-2-8 beside each transplant when we put the transplants in the ground, but besides that, I haven't given these any fertilizer, and they really don't look like they need any. So if you recall way back when we started this channel, we talked about how we were going to do a little shift in our fertilizing, go with more organic fertilizers, use less synthetic stuff. And the main reason I want to do that was because I had seen, especially with heavy feeding crops like corn, if you use a lot of synthetic fertilizers to feed those heavy feeding crops, it ends up leaving your plots pretty taxed once those heavy feeding crops are done. So when I would grow things like sweet corn and use a lot of 20-20-20 or even, sodium nitrate, the corn grew well, but then whatever I planted in that plot next seemed to struggle a little bit. It's almost like it kind of zapped the soil a little bit, or maybe there was too much salt accumulation. I don't really know why, but my crop that I would always follow the corn with would always struggle when I was using a lot of synthetic fertilizers on the corn. So the sweet corn that we had planted here prior to these watermelons, we had the chickens that gave us a little bit of fertilizer there with them kind of grazing the crop, and then we used those Nature Safe fertilizers, mainly the 1300, to give us plenty of nitrogen to feed our corn. And by using those more organic, slow release fertilizers, it keeps our plots in better shape, so they're not zapped when a crop is done, and we get some residual effects of that soil nutrition on the next crop, like these watermelons here. We really haven't had to fertilize them a lot because we've still got a good bit of nutrients in that soil. And as I always tell you, I'm not trying to persuade you to use a particular product or dissuade you from using a particular product. Just sharing my experiences, and my experiences so far since we switched to more organic fertilizers is that our plots stay in better shape year round. We're growing in these plots year round. We're working them pretty hard. We're pretty demanding of these plots, planting multiple rounds of vegetables in them in a given year. Having those slow release nutrients, maintaining a nutrient supply works a lot better for us than trying to just give them a quick pop and then the plot being kind of zapped afterwards. So we'll be sure to keep you guys updated on the progress of our fall watermelon plot. Everything's looking great right now, and we'll just hope that it continues to do so. And don't forget to let me know in the comments below if you've got a variety that I just have to grow. If it's something that I haven't tried before, I'll definitely give it a look. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to check out our affiliate links below. A lot of great companies that we use in our gardens here at Lazy Dog Farm. Even got some coupon codes for some of those companies so you can take advantage of those discounts. Don't forget to go check out our website, lazydogfarm.com, where we've got hats, shirts, recipes, our garden blog, recommended products, all kind of good stuff over there. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification button, like and share, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.